You're listening to the Call Kent podcast, where Kent C. Dodds answers questions and gives insights to software engineers like you. Now, let's hear the call.
Hello, Kent. This is Kai from Berlin. I'm a front-end developer, usually working with React and TypeScript, and I'm new to Remix, and I wonder whether Remix is the right fit for the different cases that I have. And there are so many different cases. In fact, I have 6 examples here for you, and I would be interested whether you think Remix is a good fit. Case 1 is I'm building a company landing page or a personal website featuring a blog, some dynamic content, probably a CMS. SEO is important, load speed is somewhat important, image optimization would be nice. Is Remix a great fit? 2, same thing as 1, but includes a user login, a small internal area with a couple of also static pages, let's say to edit personal data, to download invoices, etc. Would that change anything as to how Remix fits this? 3, I'm building an advanced online shop. I'm pulling data in through multiple external APIs. Performance is absolutely critical, so both page load and navigation interaction speed need to be top-notch because lost milliseconds essentially means lost revenue. Is Remix still a good fit, or is this too advanced of a case for Remix? Then 4, I'm building a browser-only application, say no backend, something like Excalidraw that works with local data only, or I'm building a browser game or a simple calculator app, so I just don't need a server, and let's say SEO is also not important. Is Remix a good fit, or might it already be too much in this case? And 5, I'm building, let's say, a more involved browser app, say something like Jira or an internal company app. Lots of CRUD actions are happening, maybe lots of dynamic drag and drop interaction. SEO is not needed at all. The initial page load speed is almost irrelevant as long as using the app is fast. What would Remix contribute here is what I'd be curious. And then 6 and final, let's say I'm building a highly interactive application, something like Figma or Google Drive, with lots of complicated user editing, multiplayer editing, CRDTs, non-relational databases, no SEO required. Again, does this change anything as to whether Remix is a good fit? I'd be curious for all of your answers, and I'm sorry for this long list of applications, but there are so many things that we can build in browsers today, and I'm happy and thankful for everything that you do. Cheers. Take care.
And that was the call. Here's what Kent had to say.
Hey, Kai, thanks so much for the question. This is a great one. Plenty to talk about here. I even had to take notes to make sure that I covered all of the things that you were asking about. So, yeah, one of the things that I really like about Remix is that rather than giving us, specific APIs that wrap the web platform, instead, Remix exposes the web platform to us. And so if the web can do it, then Remix can do it because Remix just exposes the web platform to you. And one thing that I often say to people is that while Remix may not be especially well suited for a particular use case, it's not any less well suited than any other framework that is available. And so, like, if you're going to use any framework, why not just use Remix and get the benefits that Remix offers in the future when you inevitably start adding multiple pages and stuff. But anyway, to talk about your specific use cases, the 6 that you had here, the first you said company landing page with a blog. And this is basically, in a lot of ways, what kentcdodds.com is. A lot of, I shouldn't say that. Kentcdodds.com is pretty unique. It has a lot of dynamic stuff on there. And I guess kentcdodds.com is more like your number 2, which is basically the same, except also includes user login. So extremely well suited for that type of thing. If you can cache the entire page or like all of the HTML, then you can stick a CDN in front of your server and use HTTP caching, and your server will rarely be touched. And that's actually the way that remix.run and reactrouter.com both work, is they've got a CDN in front of it, and the server is not touched very often. The really awesome benefit to this is, especially with React Router, anytime there's a change to the data that's the static stuff that you've got, rather than having to rebuild the whole website or rebuild the entire web platform and call it ISR, which is a whole thing, you just purge the cache that you've got. So the Fastly has an API for purging cache URLs, and so when you make a content change, you can just say, "Hey, Fastly, go ahead and delete that cache," and then the next user to request it, which could be yourself, can refresh the cache there for you. So anyway, for static content that is using that can cache the entire page, Remix is a really great fit, and you get awesome benefits where bring back the benefit of the publish button. You can actually make a change and not have to rebuild the whole site. It's great. And my site is a lot like your number two. And like I said, I've got user login. Every page is unique for every user, and even every refresh of the page is unique because I do some interesting random selection of blog recommendations and other content recommendations for people. So it's pretty sweet, and Remix is extremely well suited for that. Okay, so your number three is an online shop with focus on perf. The Remix actually, a year and a half ago, a lot of people were asking about Remix versus Next.js, and so it was such a common question that Ryan Florence and myself and Logan and Jacob, all of us actually worked on rebuilding the Next.js e-commerce demo. And we did it actually, one with a migration, and then two with a complete rewrite. And so migrating, meaning like changing as little as possible, which would actually be a lot easier now, because back then we didn't support CSS modules, and it's all CSS modules. So boy, I wish that we had CSS modules back then, because most of my time was spent just changing CSS modules to different style support. But anyway, so the migration was definitely faster, and the rewrite was quite a bit faster. It was a lot less code, easier to understand. I realize that a rewrite is almost always going to be faster because you have the context of the present day. I will link to the blog post that goes into depth of why it's faster and how Next.js couldn't, at least at the time, couldn't match the performance with just the architectural ways that things are with Next.js. I'm not sure how much that changes with the app directory, but I'm pretty sure there are a couple of things still that Next just is quite a bit limited. And of course, the app directory is still in beta. So it depends on how much you want to ship on beta software. So so that is the online shop. Definitely super well suited in the Remix context. Browser only, like Excalidraw. So this is one of those where Remix is not necessarily suited for this solution, but I'm not sure what else you would use that would be any better. So one thing, if I were building something like this, I think I might just use Vite with React Router and use the 6.4 data APIs, so the data router, and you get most of what you get out of Remix just using React Router. Another option that might be interesting is Cloudflare Workers support was very important to Remix from the very beginning, and Cloudflare Workers is based on the service worker spec. And so the last time I talked with the Remix team, they said there's just like one or two little changes that need to happen in Remix to support deploying to a service worker, which would be pretty interesting for that use case as well. So I'm not sure what those changes would be, but if you want to try your hand at a service worker adapter for Remix, I'm sure there would be plenty of people who would really like that a lot. But even without that, something like Excalidraw served by Remix, I'm pretty sure that would work just fine. Like you can still use the service worker and cache the original index HTML or whatever that the user landed with. There's nothing wrong with adding the server to that. And you can client render as much of Remix as you like. And so if you really just say this is just a client-side app and it's local only and we're using local data and stuff, there's not really much to server render, yeah, that's fine. You can still use Remix for that. And the benefit of that is Remix is quite fast and from a developer experience standpoint as well. So I wouldn't say like it's especially well suited for that, but I'm not sure what else you would use that would be any better. So number 5 was a Jira-like internal company app. So something that presumably somebody's paying for. They don't really care about it being necessarily fast because they're normally using it on a desktop computer. No SEO because everything's behind a login screen, all of that. So I would say that a lot of the times we say, well, I'm building a spa that's behind a login screen that people are paying millions of dollars to access. It's not really that important for this thing to be very fast as far as load times are concerned. And you said initial page load speed is irrelevant as long as using the app is fast. I would actually push against that a little bit because sometimes I have an app that I've paid for and I'm on a spotty internet connection somewhere, and it's really frustrating when that app is really slow. So I think that people do want their apps to be fast, even if it's not the most important thing. And if you're choosing between two options and one of them gives you much faster initial load page times, then I don't think that counts against it. So I would still use Remix for something like this. It's certainly capable of like dynamic drag and drop and all of that stuff. There's actually, Ryan has this really cool task manager app that he uses personally that has drag and drop and has a lot of really cool, very interactive features. Yeah, it works great. A lot of use fetcher in that sort of environment, but very, very cool. And definitely something that Remix is really capable of. I'm not sure what else you would use that would be any better. So yeah, Remix is definitely capable of that, well suited for it. Number 6, highly interactive app like Figma or Google Drive. There's multiplayer, CRDTs, non-relational databases, no SEO matters, all that stuff. So yeah, same as number 5. It's unclear to me what really the difference between your number 5 and number 6 are. Although, I suppose this is just like taking number 5 to the next level with multiplayer and stuff like that. Yeah, Remix is super, definitely capable of all of this stuff. Nothing really necessarily built in to support this, though it does expose the web platform to you. And so on Rocket Rental, I have a chat feature that's just using server sent events. And I think that's sufficient for that. If you want to have like multiple cursors or whatever, I probably wouldn't use server sent events for that, but maybe. If I were building something like that, I would look into Sunil Pai is building PartyKit, which is especially solving that particular problem. And so if that was a very important thing for me, I might look into using something like that. Remix also doesn't have anything for CRDTs built in, but I don't think anything else does either. So I hope that is helpful to you. Thanks for the question, and a very interesting topic. And yeah, good luck with everything that you're doing. It sounds like you've got a lot on your plate. So good luck with that, Kai. Take care.
This has been the Call Kent podcast. Learn more about Kent at kentcdodds.com and get your own questions answered at kentcdodds.com/calls.